Welcome. All right, let me get this music up. All right. Oh, I might have to turn the air on. It's a little bit hot. A little bit hot. It's a little bit hot in here. I was trying to quickly go through these notes to see. How I want to handle this, because you know your girl take a bunch of notes and it don't be all the way necessary. Oh, sweating, y'all. Try to take my sling off for a little while. I got index cards. I got another laptop. Child. We're gonna see. I'm kind of, like I said, we're putting this stuff up here. And then it looks like Sharonda's doing a live. Mo is doing a live. Jaylee's Corner is doing a live. So I may just get started in a minute if nobody else comes into the room but Ma. Yes. Anybody comes in, let me know if you can try to move. Speaking of if you can hear me, my mic sound nice. Check one. My mic a little bit closer. Oh, every time I move quickly, the screen does that. You know what? Hold on one second. If I just mute it, I can see. I think we're okay with the sound. Yes. I try to start on time, which is always a challenge. And I got it out by 8 o'clock. I think Shayna MCD, my fellow panel member, has her baby boy live tonight at 8 o'clock. So I don't want to bump heads with her. These other people, it's just like, it is what it is. It is what it is. But we're here to talk Love is Blind. Hold on one second, you guys. Whew. And then I am hot, and then I have tea because my tummy and my throat. All right, I got running out of sugar. I just might have to have the kids turn the air on. And I always worry about the air with the audio, but when my oldest son comes in, he don't give a nothing about none of that. None of that. This is too close. It's too close, man. It's too close. So hopefully whoever does stroll on in here, whenever you do stroll on in here, ciao. Like I said, we're here to talk about Love is Blind season 5. It's episodes. Oh Lord. It's always going to be a technical difficulty, huh? And I'm looking all twisted and turned up. Why does my shirt look like that? It's clean. It's oh Lord. Lord. Hey Shayna. Oh my gosh. It's me and you in here for now. I was just about to get started talking about this crazy season because Love is Blind said if they cannot get back to that thrill of the OG season, then they just gonna give you drama, is what they decided that they gonna do. That's what we decided to lean in on. Oh, okay. Yeah. I watched Friday and then I watched Friday and Saturday. I watched the 4 episodes, and the next one we're only gonna get 3, so hopefully that will be a little bit better. And then this was kind of our setup for setups. This shirt is really bothering me. I don't want to have to stop and change it, but I don't know why it looks like that. And I've been trying not to wear the V-necks because they're looking crazy, but this crew neck is looking okay. Woosah, breathe. So anybody that comes into the room is gonna know that Love is Blind. We get these 10 weeks where we date these people in these pods, sight unseen. This is a Nick and Vanessa who we are trying so desperately to get rid of production because they don't really have any stakes with this one. The ultimatum, that's kind of like Vanessa's baby, I would say. But this one is kind of like, what you gonna do? Now, what I did take from it is when we did open up, we heard in the background something about why did you leave me? And you let some girl come between us. And I was like, okay. Like I said, Netflix, we can't get back to Cam and Lauren, so we just gonna get drama instead. Last season was very drama filled, and this one, the first 4 episodes was between lackluster and giving you a lot. They gave you, I feel like, mic drops at the end of the episodes that you was like, okay. So I do have some slides, and we got to get used to these people. We have to get used to these people. Like I said, I have a bunch of notes. So I wonder if you guys ever watch Couples Couch. I want to kind of do a high level overview. I don't want to get too deep into it. I really just want to get to the drama of it all, to be quite honest. But because we did get last season, we did get Brett and Tiffany. That was our love match, and that's the only like one that we've gotten that's been, and this one, child, I don't know what they're doing. But we started out and we saw, let me see if I have them in order. This lady here, Lydia. Well, they start, I'm speeding, I always gotta slow it down. So in the house, and they're talking to Nick and Vanessa, and then you basically know why everybody is there is they want to kind of move past that physical and get to the deep part of it. So for whatever their reasons are. So we get Lydia, and the numbers on the screen are going to be different because this is what's on IG now, and this was filmed some years ago. So as of the show, Lydia was 30, and she's a geologist, and she's from Puerto Rico. And, she says people say that she's too much, but she's not too much. And at first I was kind of like, okay, trying to feel her out. And then as we kind of started to progress, she was giving me like them Jacquelina vibes. And you remember how Jacquelina ended up, child. So she gets in the pods with, let me see, like I said, let me see if I got these in order. Milton, 24, engineer. And she keeps calling him a nerd. I'm going to do it in air quotes because he was like, I'm really not. And I think he was a little offended. And we have to be careful when we start labeling people, but they connect over geology because he loves rocks. She's a geologist. So it's like a little match made in heaven. Now, when I first saw these two, I thought that, they would be a match and it would be what it was. But with her being 30 and him being 24, she kind of wrote him off really, really early. Hey, Tamika. Thank you for stopping through. I know you do not do reality TV, but thank you for coming on in the room. Yes, make sure to hit that like button, y'all. So Lydia we're talking about. So Lydia, her first match was Milton, and then her second match, which was actually her preference, was Izzy. Izzy is 29 at the time. He's an insurance agent. It says sales here. His real name is Ismael, which I would have preferred. I don't know why when I think of Izzy, maybe because my friend's daughter, I call her Izzy, and then my son grew up with an Izzy, and I just always think of a girl, but I would have preferred Ismail, especially I get kind of weird with calling adult men nicknames, but that's just a personal preference. I know. Thank you for coming. I was just saying, I know you don't do the the reality TV of it all. So that was just my personal aside. So he's Mexican, and at first these two kind of seem like they're vibing a little bit because speaking Spanish and everything is good. But he does have other connections, which are stronger connections for him. And the first one being Stacy. Stacy is 33 and she's an operations manager. And Stacy is giving me, I can't remember the girl's name from the other season. Stacy's not giving me deep. We're just gonna go ahead and say it. Stacy is giving me surface. Stacy is giving me fun girl. As opposed to his other connection, which was Johnny, who was 30, a lawyer. She's one of six kids. Her parents are still together. We find out that Izzy has been engaged and Johnny's actually been married once. And they're kind of bonding over the intellectual and the mental connection thing. Child, she said her mama said that maybe she don't maybe she don't need to be married. And some mamas, yikes. But later that the further we get along, Mama may have just been right, but the ladies are loving Izzy. I'm not quite sure why. He's paranoid about this bald head of his, which I'm like, now if you was dating a sister, because the sisters we like the bald heads and we like the beards, but he don't want a sister, which is why he's having a problem with that bald head. So Johnny, she has another match, which is Chris. Chris is 27. He's a project manager, and Johnny has a dog. And Chris, he fosters dogs on the weekends. I just want to make sure, because like I said, I had doggone index cards because I was trying to condense it down. I don't want to give you guys too much, but I do just want to quickly look through my notes and see the ones I had on the laptop and just make sure I'm not missing out on anything. Nope, so far so good. So those were so far the connections. We got Lydia, who is vibing with Milton. She's also vibing with Izzy, which is her preference. We got Izzy, who went out with Lydia, who is also vibing with Stacy and Johnny, who those are his two stronger picks. We have Johnny, who's vibing with Chris. Child, it's a lot to keep up with. First, especially when you're first getting started to get to, get acclimated with these people. We have Jared. At first, I was like, "Who's Jared?" Jared is JP, is what he's calling himself on the show, and he's a firefighter. His parents are divorced, and sir, he's like, firefighters tend to be good cooks, so he's like a master chef. But baby girl, his date. Oh no, I got him out of order. Oh, am I missing a slide? I think I'm missing a slide, y'all. I was doing so good. Yes. Doggone it. Can't believe it. Okay, anyway. We shall proceed. Yikes. I ain't even gonna try to add it. It'll probably take me a minute. So we'll just stay on JP. His connection was Taylor, who I don't have a picture of. I thought I was doing good with these slides today, but clearly I done missed a whole person. Let me see. I know I had her in here. Yeah, I have her in here, but for some reason she didn't get a slide. Womp 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 womp. Um, Blonde girl, I'll try to put her up there next time since she does end up making it past episode 4. Spoiler alert, the whole thing's a spoiler alert. And she's a teacher, she's a kindergarten teacher, and she actually kind of reminds me of Micah a little in the face. But when it comes to the self-esteem, she's giving me Irina vibes because she says, she has a lot of stuff going on. And basically, she wants to get married, she wants to be in love. But she says that she didn't truly love herself. So I don't know, maybe She was, I don't even know, because can you see? You know what? Let me take this down a second. Ooh, come on with it, y'all. That's Taylor. So ghetto. That's Taylor. Let me put my thing back up there. Um, so Taylor and JP, they make connections. Everything's looking pretty good. What else? What else? What else? We move on to Uche. Uche is 33. He's a lawyer. He owns a software company. Now, in typical Love is Blind fashion, we got lots of Black folks behind the scenes in the lounge, but we don't really get to see that much of them. And it goes to a conversation that I've been having. I've also seen Sharonda from Pay Away have the same conversation when we're talking. Excuse me, perfect match is, let me get on my soapbox for a minute here, guys. Love is Blind. While they want diversity, I feel like we are picking, is my leg good? We are picking Black males, males of color who don't want to date Black women. They want to date either white women or they want to date racially ambiguous mix. That's kind of what I've been seeing. Uche does not follow that pattern, even though we are giving Barstool bathwater, whatever you want to call Bartiz in the head. I don't know what it is with these Black men and these beard haircuts. So I'll get off my soapbox because he actually did date Black women. So that's the one thing that we can give him kudos to. Let me go on IG because this one I know for a fact I did not. We didn't see her past episode 1, so I did not. Hold on, I'm gonna go off camera for 1 second, you guys. Okay, I am back. Let's move this. You know, we just real casual over here. This is how Kira does it on her channel. We are real casual. We friends. We sitting and having a conversation, which is really what I want to do when I get on lives. Like, I don't want to give you guys too much, which is why I kind of pull back from, doing some of these notes on notes on notes. Is she in that first set? No. I just want to pull this lady up from her. Where we go? Here we go. Again, let's take Uche down a second. Thanks, Uche. And let's get into Miriam. Miriam. Black woman, okay? She is 31. She's a scientist and she's born and raised in Nigeria. Now, Miss Miriam was given to people, scammer is what she was giving us. She was giving us very much joggers, like word vomit. This is what Miriam was giving us as she's dating Uche. She, like I said, born and raised in Nigeria. She came to the States. She had a choice of London and the States. She came here for, her college education. She was going to be a doctor, and then she ended up being a scientist. He's asking her, like, what, kind of science are you into? Well, I work in academia in the Middle East. Wait, what? Okay, girl. And then he's like, you're in the Middle East, which is weird because why are you going to be on a dating show here if you're in the Middle East? And she's like, oh, well, I'm moving back to, I don't know, to Houston soon. And so he's like, oh, you're asking her when she's going to, legitimate questions. When are you moving back? Oh, well, I'm already here. Ma'am. What are we doing here? Are you kidding me? Then she starts talking about her skincare business. Oh, so you do, what did Sir say? I can't even remember the word she used. She said skincare business. And she started talking about it's well, it's a distinct composition of sorts. I said, ma'am. Like I said, part of it is given scammer, but also somebody else did point out that I noticed when I was cruising through the Twitter streets, the streets and the TikTok streets and all my little social media, that potentially the skincare business that she may be in is bleaching. Could be she's Nigerian. You know, sometimes Africans, they do like to bleach. So Uche's other connection, which was his better connection, and we did get a picture of her because we like Aaliyah, is Aaliyah. Aaliyah's 28. She's an ICU nurse. She lived in Japan as a kid because her parents were in the Air Force. What else do we want to get through? There's a bunch of speed dates. Okay, let's touch on this. Yikes. So, like I said, we're just going to give the important parts and the gossip. I want you to get to know these people. I want you to sit and chat with your girl. So Johnny and Chris. Johnny and Chris have a date, and you know, a lot of stuff comes out on these dates. And one of the things that came out, which I didn't understand why at 30 something years old, she was asking this question, but we started talking about virginity, and we find out that Chris lost his virginity when he was 17 in Mexico. And it was, child, how to say this because we are on YouTube and you have to be very careful with your words, against his will. So, you know, I just want to get into that really quickly because some people, you know, make jokes and stuff like that. And if the shoe was on the other foot, it wouldn't be funny. So while I do like to joke, have fun, have honest conversation with you guys, men can be assaulted too. So won't get too much on my soapbox, but we will definitely go there with it. So Lydia is, that is the one, like I said, she's giving me Jacquelina vibes, especially where we ended in episodes 3 or 4. This mama's right here. Oh, and this was the title of episode 1, which I was like, what's about to go on Netflix? Like I said, I make all these banners, do all these slides. I can't believe I forgot a slide for Taylor though. Jesus. So Lydia, she is really, really, really feeling Izzy. And I'm not really understanding what the vibe that the ladies are getting from Izzy. Because Izzy, oh, let's not knock my tea over. Well, we will get to it later. Izzy is giving me these. He's giving me these. I gotta keep my red flags close. I don't know if he's maybe giving that bad boy feel, that's what, because you know, women, we get real up here sometimes and we don't think it through. But she's really digging him. And I was like, I think she did tell him that, oh, you're my number one, but I was like, I don't think it's mutual. And a little later we'll speed to that. Like I said, we ain't gonna do no scene by scene. We'll keep it as compact as we can. He breaks it off with her because he was asking her, like, oh, do you have any other connections? Do you have any stronger connections? But she wanted Izzy and Izzy ain't want her. So when Izzy did break it off with Lydia, child, she was a face full of tears talking about what's missing. And I was like, baby girl, don't do this to yourself. This is not what we about to do. So Aaliyah and Uche, they are vibing. She wants a woman cave. She likes to play the guitar. He also likes to play the guitar. They both have Fenders. Let's go to pretty Aaliyah. I gotta stop with the ums. She's into spoken word. She wants to write poetry, and he's also into spoken word. He was big into it when he was in college. And she says that her favorite movie is Love Jones, which I was like, "Ooh, okay." But it was for the spoken word factor. So these two have a lot in common. We're doing great. We're doing good. JP and Taylor, I had to laugh when they were having their date because JP yawned, baby, and Taylor was like, "I hear you yawning. Get down and do those push-ups." And that reminded me of Brett and Tiffany. I said, "Poor my boy Tiffany, my boy Tiffany." So that was, I don't even know. You know what? Instead of hopping around for now, let's go here. I have a tendency to hop around with the slides, and I don't know if it aggravates you guys as much as sometimes it's like with me. But who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Yeah. So this is the point at which Izzy breaks the connection with Lydia. She goes back to the women's quarters. She is a face full of tears. She's so upset. She's so broken up. I was like, what day is this? What day is this? Somebody tell me. So Aaliyah ends up comforting her. Really sweet. We move on. So now, speaking of Aaliyah, she goes on her pod date with Uche. She's nervous about the whole thing. The whole thing is kind of scary. I personally couldn't do a dating show. I don't want to say I'm too much because I'm enough for somebody. Um, it's just a lot for me. I'm in my 40s and I have kids, so those to me are two things. Like these are for a little bit younger people, perhaps without kids, to do this a little more effortlessly, to put your heart and your soul and everything into it. And also another sidebar, which I have said before. Now, see, I'm confused because I did one season of Love Is Blind and didn't finish, and the other one I recorded the whole first couple of episodes, and then I ended up scrapping it. Yeah, didn't even edit it. But one of my things with Love Is Blind is I feel like the people should be in their 30s. 20s, I feel like, do you need this type of dating show for your 20s? And we're not going to get into the authenticity of it. We're going to bring it back because we're not going to go off on a tangent because it's just me. So we get into deal breakers between Uche and Aaliyah, and with him it's dishonesty, hers is the same, and we get into if she's ever cheated. She admits that she has. Now I was wondering if production was the people who, because they have little notebooks and stuff like that, and I guess obviously they have questions to ask, so they're not just sitting there and it's like crickets, we talking to ourselves. But I was wondering if that was a question that maybe production gave her. So it's awkward. It was 2 years ago, and that's where we get the title of the episode. Oh, so you're a recent cheater. And she was like, no, child, it was a lie. She never told the guy. She continued to date him for another 3 months, and Uche had all the judgment in the world. He said he cheated when he was 18, but it was just a kiss. I mean, he just laid it on her thick. He gave her all the judgment. He was judge, jury, and executioner. Okay. Now, we know that he's a lawyer, but I was like, Uche, you doing a lot right now. And part of me gets it because 2 years, Lord, let me take a breath as I say this because I don't want to be, I'm not a male centered person. So we go ahead and put the shoe on the other foot. If the shoe was on the other foot, as a woman, 2 years is pretty recent. We're gonna need therapy, we're gonna need to talk it out. Yeah, she said that she tried her best. She wasn't satisfied sexually. She did everything that she could, and I'm kind of with Uche on that one. She probably should have just broke up with him. But I know sometimes things aren't that simple. But I got where he was coming from. What I didn't agree with is the judgment, especially when we get to episode 3 and 4. But I was like, that's a whole lot of judgment for, I won't say cheating is something light, but I was just like, yikes. So that was basically episode 1 in a nutshell. I did not mean to take a whole full on 30 minutes, especially, without you guys chiming in to talk about it. I was hoping I would get some more people to get a little back and forth. So, mm, 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 mm. He did have some words, I guess, at the end of the episode that she kind of walked out and didn't hear. Yeah, I guess we'll get into it in a minute. So we got now, this is when I kind of, let's see if I can condense it down. So Miss Lydia, let's go back with these pictures for a little while. She goes on a date with Milton, and I have in my notes that Lydia needs therapy. She craves somebody to love her for who she is, which I get it. We all do. You want somebody to love you specifically for who you are. But I was cracking up because when they go in there, all have different kinds of dates set up. So they got kind of like a beach thing set up, and she's asking him like, "Oh, you see the tube now?" Part of it, I guess, maybe he wasn't familiar with we're going to try and give it to him. He wasn't familiar with the wording because she was asking about a tube. He looked right at it, didn't see it. You have a refrigerator? I don't have a refrigerator. Or, oh, a cooler. No, I don't have a cooler. The cooler right there with notebook and a drink. And then he was like, oh, wait, I have an ice chest. I was like, so, that was a cute little thing. She is his strongest connections. He was born in Hawaii. He lived in Japan. His parents were strict, and he struggled. Now, like I said, initially I thought these two could be the perfect couple. The age, yeah, it's the thing. I get it. But she wanted Izzy, but now that Izzy done dropped her on her ass, now she running back to Milton, and Milton is looking like the one. JP and Taylor, who I have no pictures of Taylor. This was like the trauma issue. He got into how his mom was a really angry person growing up, I guess because of the dad, but it was more so with his sisters, and she would scream and yell with the sisters or whatever. She's gotten better now. So Uche and Aaliyah finally have this conversation that, they need to have. And she tells him in a marriage that she does not want to feel judged. That's the fair request. But he was kind of like, did I say that? You did. You were very much giving judgment and saying all the things that she said, you said. So he apologizes and kind of says that everybody has a past. He's made mistakes. He was surprised, caught off guard, blah, 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 blah. So he says, that they will argue. They just got to trust in their timing. And, it scares the both of them. But basically, these two, they get on the better footing and it's all good. We move on. We move on to Izzy and Stacy. Stacy, like I said, I might have a picture of Stacy. I think it's just Taylor. I don't have a picture of for some reason. Stacy, like I said, is not giving us there she is. She's not giving us deep. She claims she could be vulnerable, but she's not. Ooh, child. I'm dropping things. I need a little sip of my tea while it's still warm. Oh, look at my cup, my mug, you guys. It's so full. I don't want to. Hold on. I just like to share with you guys, my little family. No, I said to take it off. Okay, I'm trying to show my mug. You got love. It's a little lipstick on the other side. Whoop, whoop. And then you got hate. I just love my little mug. It didn't have nothing to do with nothing. I was just drinking my tea, so. Chris and Johnny, they have a spa date, and I like their little dates. These two, it's another one where Johnny and Chris are getting along magnificently, but for some reason, everybody, like I said, freaking wants Izzy. So she's like, it's going good, but she has a crush on Izzy. We find out that Izzy was raised Jehovah's Witness as a kid, which I'm sure tracks. The Jehovah Witnesses don't explain why they don't celebrate the holiday. Well, let me not say that because I don't want nobody to get down in the comments and tear me to pieces. I did have one Jehovah's Witness in my family who's no longer with us, but that's a whole nother subject. So we'll just stick to what Izzy said because I don't want y'all to tear me apart. They never really explained to him why they didn't celebrate the holidays. So one Easter, the neighbor invited him over. They're doing like an Easter egg hunt. He is living his best life. Okay. Everything's good. Everything's great. His dad grabs him by the collar, pulls him in the house. So he's all upset as any kid would be. I don't know how old he was, but he goes over to his cousin's house to vent, only to find out the cousin tells him, like, yo, daddy ain't your daddy. Now, Johnny never elaborated on it, and we never elaborated on it. And I was kind of like, yikes. So he craves tradition. I think he said 2018, he did his first Christmas. He's had that tree up to like March or April. So at this point, I was like, okay, so we got Izzy and Johnny, we got Uche and Aaliyah, we got Milton and Lydia. This is what I thought. How you just drop that on a kid? And it's like, I know he was upset, but we ain't get no explanation to it. Like, who is your daddy, sir? Did we find out who his daddy is? Was his mama his mama? Is he adopted? I don't know. But like I said, I was going to hit the key points of this thing here. Johnny. So Johnny, she decides to get ahead of herself and she go ahead and cuts Chris off. And she tells Izzy she cut Chris off. And I was like, why did she do that? Previous seasons, they kind of get that bond with somebody and they're like, oh, you're my number one. I'm about to go cut my number two off. But she didn't have that. She just kind of got ahead of herself. She starts talking about, she has hurt from past relationship. And she's like, I got a lot of red flags. She said she knows she got a lot of red flags. I think Izzy is stuck on, because he talks to Johnny about it and he talks to somebody else about it. The physical thing, the bald head is really a thing for him. I really would like to get into that. And these people need therapists. I don't know why they don't have a therapist on the show. So they had this long, awkward conversation, and she had mentioned, I think it might have been in episode 1, that she had dealt with somebody with addiction issues. So she says her longest relationship was somebody with a drug addiction. Like I said, she was married before, not the same person. So now while she's married to this current husband, the love of her life, the only person she ever loved that was addicted to drugs, died. He owed ODs, and she basically said that the person she married was her rebound marriage. Whoo, child, these people was a lot. I said, y'all are just a whole lot of therapy needed. Yeah, so it was giving me Ghost and Angela. Like, I just lost the love of my life. It was a very awkward conversation, and Izzy kind of seemed irritated by it. Like, Stacy wasn't giving him deep enough, but Johnny was just too much for them. And I'm like, y'all are trauma bonding. So, child, it is what it is. And that was basically the end of that episode. So the end of episode 1, we got the whole thing with because like I said, I called them the mic drops. These I guess weren't mic drops, but the end of episode 1, we got the Aaliyah and Uche thing. He was just being judgmental and she was upset. At the end of episode 2, it was Johnny's reveal that she was in love with her ex and was mad. Woo! So then we get to episode 3, which was Blindsided. So JP and Taylor, again, don't have a picture of Taylor. And who would have known the man's name was Jared? the firefighter, they meet, and I was like, I had in my notes, Chris kisses her aggressively and says she's pretty, and I guess I wasn't the only one, because I think I heard somebody else saying that. I was like, why is he kissing her so hard? And she made some comment about his. First, I couldn't tell if she was really into him, but she did make some comment about his gap. So I was like, I don't know how this is gonna play out, because, like I said, the love is blind thing is cute, but then once they get out into the real world and they get with these looks, and love don't be blind, love be, in the words of Shake, love be a little bit blurry. Lord, I know, don't shoot me, because Shake, woo. So Stacey, I said, is plotting on Izzy, but at the time I was thinking that Izzy preferred Johnny, but I think Izzy blew it at the end of the last episode with her trauma. So Stacey and Izzy have this conversation. It was no big deal. Uche and Aaliyah have a conversation about idiosyncrasies and oddities, and she likes, the little elbow piece down there and eating Splenda and honey, and all he had to offer after first he said he didn't have any was, we find out that he's a little OCD. But we're gonna get back to them. Lydia and Milton, he is a competitive Pokemon player. Next. We talk about childhood traumas for some reason. Like I said, they got a little deep, and I was very yikes. So he had a bad childhood injury. I think he said he used to play basketball. Long story short, he had scoliosis and he had to get a surgery. It was very traumatic. So this is an awkward conversation. Izzy meets with Johnny and decides to break down the difference in the two connections. And I was like, ouch. Yeah, yikes. She starts to get worried because her easier choice was Chris, but you don't cut Chris off. You ain't want Chris. You wanted, I'm gonna say bad boy. That's the only thing I can have in my head. You wanted the bad boy. They have this long conversation. And she's like, "Are you ending it with me?" Yeah. You left homeboy Chris, and put Chris up here. You left Chris crying in the confessional, although he did say she could go. Only to turn around and have Izzy do the same thing to you. Child, she talking about she going home. They're like, what about Chris? I said, please don't spin the block. Please don't spin the block. Don't Jared and Ayana or the last season, I can't even think of them, Zach and Irina. Please don't. But she about to spin the block. So Izzy and Stacy, that was boring. The guys are laughing in the living quarters about Chris being a backup. So he does decide to go meet with her in the pods, and he's conflicted. And then afterwards, Chris and Izzy start to exchanging notes how she was running game on these dudes. She's telling one like, I usually choose security, so no, you're my option. And then the other one, she's like, well, I usually choose bad boys. Ma'am, she tried it, but they exchanged notes. And I think that when Izzy went and had the meeting with Stacy, and Stacy wasn't given the vulnerability that he knew she didn't have, but Johnny was too deep. Those two really deserve each other. That he was going to spin the block, but he did not spin the block. So, we're going to have to get through episode 3 real quick. So yes. The best part of the episode. Let's get to it. So we're going to wrap this thing on up. So Uche has written some spoken word for Aaliyah. It was so funny because I think Stacy wrote something for Izzy. I don't remember if I mentioned that. And hers was more Dr. Seussical, the musical. But he writes her the spoken words. And then I guess there must have been something in the spoken word about honesty. He's like, speaking of being honest, wait. What'd you say, Uche? Say it a little louder. Speaking of being honest, so he says that he dated someone else in the pods. I said, how and who? And he gets to, I can't remember what date it was, but he walked into the room and this person knew a whole lot of information about her, about him, and it was Lydia. I said, Ma. It was a mic drop at the end of episode 3 because I don't know if I mentioned it before. Like I said, the notes was a little all over the place, and I want to get to things, and some things don't matter. Lydia was in Aaliyah's ear in episode 1. Like, if he is gonna judge you, and if he does this, and maybe he's not the one, and me and you are just alike, and I see you and me and you my homegirl, which I was like, Aaliyah, there's a whole bunch of black girls sitting in the background. You picked the crazy Puerto Rican to be friend, but child, they was having a love affair more than she had with Uche. I said, what is really going on? So that was basically the end of episode 3. And then episode 4, we gonna obviously pick up where we left off with this whole thing of Aaliyah and Uche. So they show us a flashback, and indeed he walks in the little pod, and he's like, hi, my name is Uche, and she's like, so I think she dropped the F word, and she's like, you are Uche Zaluche, and blah blah blah. He was like, pardon me, how do you know me? He didn't recognize her voice, which her voice is very distinct and annoying in my opinion, but okay, we playing games. So she's like, oh, I love Kobe. Kobe's his dog. Lydia? Yeah. Now, it seems like she wanted to proceed and he did not, because he said it wouldn't be authentic and it wouldn't be conducive to basically what they were doing. Because y'all could have spun the block in the streets, not on Netflix this time. But because she was like, oh, we can have a clean slate and start over and get to know each other. He was like, yeah, no, I'm a pass. So he says that they weren't compatible. They dated a couple months. Aaliyah is crying and crying and crying. And people were saying that she said she doesn't know how to feel and she needs to talk to her. But it was crazy because he was like, he didn't want her to, something he didn't want her to say. And I can't remember what it was, but I was like, she gonna have to spill that. And then he started talking about, oh, she's trustworthy. She's not. She's not. And he was in Milton's ear on one of the episodes, like, you don't have to get married if you want. And he's worried, talking about, oh, Milton is not ready to get married. Why are you so worried about this girl? Why are we talking about Milton and why are we talking about Lydia? You were supposed to be talking about Aaliyah, Uche. Woo, child, he pissed me off. So she was so distraught. But now, what really, really got me is you got on your freaking soapbox about her cheating 2 years ago. You don't think, and that's why I think it was a scheme that Todd had set up to come to me with the bullshit, aka production, because why, after she said that, instead of judging her, that would have been the perfect time to slip in the Lydia conversation. But no, y'all wanted mess and y'all wanted drama, and so here we are. And even more so, Lydia in that girl's face. Ooh, she needed pow pows, child. Ooh. So Izzy proposes to Stacy. She says yes. Johnny is all upset back in the women's area, talking cash-ish, talking about Izzy's credit ain't no good. He just moved someplace else. He's not ready to be vulnerable. I said, okay. So we get Chris, and Johnny back in them pods. And long story short, Chris chose his mother freaking self. You better stand up, Chris. Woo! Bye, Johnny. Bye, Johnny. Let me put a little crazy face up here. Bye, Johnny. We gotta go back a couple of slides. Shouts out to Chris for choosing himself. So now, Aaliyah, we're gonna take it back to this. while I finish this out. Cool. Aaliyah confronts Lydia. And I don't know why we decided that we want to form a friendship with this lady. Like I said, you was caring more about Lydia than you was Uche. And I was like, we could have just left Lydia alone and moved on with Uche if that's what you wanted to do. Because when she was in the thing with Uche, she was like, "Ooh, you about to have a baddie." So at some point, she kind of did pull it together and kind of give him like the vibe that it was okay. And then she went back there and cried on old girl's arms. So, child, I had this whole ish is weird. Aaliyah is highly bothered. She's like, she don't want to know nothing. Oh wait, you said you don't want to know nothing, mommy? Boom, here goes Lydia. So, his dog Kobe loves me. I just bought Kobe a toy and Kobe pees when he sees me and blah, blah, blah. I said, she needed a mush in her forehead. Or I don't know why Lydia didn't get up and walk away. She didn't want to hear any of this. But Lydia's like, I'm gonna sink this battleship and I'm gonna sink it right now. Okay. So she's telling her, oh, I met his friend. So if you have any questions, she's like, no, I don't want. I met his friends. His house is real dope. It looks like this. It's this many levels. You know what he drives? He drives a Tesla. You know his favorite color is? His favorite color is blue. His Tesla's blue, like royal blue. I said, oh my gosh. I don't know why Aaliyah sat there and let this lady do this to her. I said, that's why I said she was giving me them Jacqueline vibes. And Lydia is one of the villains of season 5, Love is Blind. Oh, child. And then, if that wasn't bad enough, she drops the bomb that January, which was 3 months' time, that okay, wait, you know what? Let me back it up. That wasn't the point at which she made everything okay with Uche. She said she was going to go talk to Lydia, and then she doubled back and talked to Uche after that, or at least that's what we saw. So she drops the bomb that not 3 months ago that Lydia slept with Uche. So she wants this man. It's a whole roller coaster. It's stuff to address. She is fit to be tied. I'm gonna go out of order. She talked to Uche about it, and that's when they got to, because she was like, you just slept with it 3 months ago, but then somehow by the end of the conversation, she was like, oh, you about to have a baddie waiting. Choose yourself, like Chris. What are we doing here, Aaliyah? So Lydia goes and tells Milton about Uche. And like I said, Uche was trying to be in Milton's ear real quick. So Milton, he's a little annoyed, but child, he takes it. Izzy and Stacy meet. I don't know if this is gonna work because yeah, yikes. And I don't know if she was that into his looks because it is what it is. Milton decides to propose to Lydia, which we knew she was going to say yes because she's just vindictive. She's there, in my opinion, to get, well, let me not say this. I don't know if she knew initially that Uche was on this show, but once they were on the same season, that was her game plan, is to get Aaliyah and Uche in the house and her and Milton, I don't want to say in the house because they take this honeymoon trip. So now it's gonna get very weird because we're deviating from the original formula here. We usually by episode 4, I thought we were already at the place, but since there was so much drama to clear out, we got the proposals and we didn't get all the meets. We got JP and Taylor and we got Izzy and Stacy, but I don't think we got Milton meeting Lydia. So I guess they're going to tackle that at the beginning of episode 5 and then go on into these trips because, they go away for a week and spend time and then they come back and they move into these apartments and then they go back into the real world and meet each other's families. You guys are fully aware of the whole setup. So Uche goes in the room and like I said, Now, when they last had a conversation, Aaliyah was like, "Oh, you're about to have a baddie." So now he walks in the room ready to propose, and he was like, hey, girl, hey, hello." And production's like, "Uche, get my microphone. Aaliyah has decided to leave the experiment." I said, "Let me take this off." I was like, "Oh my God." She decided to no longer continue the experiment. I was like, okay. But now I'm also wondering where it is we're going to go from here. We usually have more couples. We only have 3 engaged couples now. Like I said, we got JP and Taylor, we got Izzy and Stacy, and we have Milton and Lydia. It's about to be hella boring if you ask me. But I think they're going to mix it up once they get to this trip because, they have the mixers when they bring everybody back. And we did see going forward that Aaliyah is making an appearance and having a meeting with Uche. So that might have been what I heard at the beginning when somebody was saying, "Oh, you left me alone and you let some girl come between us." I said, "Hey." So that potentially was Uche. Anybody that's here currently want to leave their predictions for the next couple of episodes. We're going to get episodes 5, 6, and 7 next. So probably I'm going to try, and hopefully life will be kind and I can do another live for episodes 5, 6, and 7 for you guys and just go through it. I hope not to do as many notes next time. And that's always the issue of mine. But I feel like we hit the main areas. And an hour to do 4 episodes. Like I said, we hit the main. I'm starting to feel like, oh, hold on. It's my nose that's running. I'm feeling like I don't know. Like I said, last season, they did mix it up pretty good and give us drama and bring people back and do all kinds of stuff that they never did before. And I guess since they can't repeat, I know I said this earlier, since they can't repeat that original formula with Lauren and Cam, that we're going the drama route. So this is what we have. But I kind of feel like in order to be successful, like 3 couples. So what are these couples? Let me look. Let me think it through while I'm on here with y'all before I get off. What's my time? 7:43. We're gonna be good. 8:00. I believe it's 8:00. Look, let me just double check while I'm on here with you. Your girl is not afraid to go on her phone and check some things out while we are on here. Does it have the time? Yes. Okay. Anybody that happens to be in here, the room's been kind of quiet, but I see people going in and coming out. So maybe y'all just, peeking in and coming out. I know Shayna said she didn't finish watching all the episodes. Tamika, she don't really do reality TV, but my sister was supporting me, so she was here. But when you get off 8:00, go get you a little snack, a little drink, and go support my sister, my panel member, Shayna MCD. She is doing a live throwback movie review of Baby Boy. So let's go get into all the mess of that. But 3 couples. JP and Taylor, I feel like it's fine. It's going to be perfectly boring. I'm just not sure whether looks wise, that's kind of where like I said, the Love is Blind thing kind of starts to fall apart. What that's going to be hitting for. So I think that's where they're going to experience troubles. We see that Milton and Lydia are going to have issues with the age thing when it comes to meeting the families in the preview. But we all know that Lydia don't want Milton. She just was trying to get her hands on Uche. Izzy and Stacy. Izzy should have been with Johnny's crazy behind, even though Johnny, yeah. So Chris left and Aaliyah left. So that's how we ended up with 3 couples and not 5. Yikes. Yikes. I looked at the previews. I'm curious to see because, like I said, typically by episode 4, everybody's met each other, and I think it's episode 4, yeah, and then they're on their way to Mexico or Bahamas or wherever they go locally to meet each other, and then the mixer and stuff like that. But drama, 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 y'all. Thank you to everyone who came through. She gone, she gone, she gone. Let me take my banner down. Let's review. I know it's kind of hard because it was 4 episodes, and so I get, people probably didn't come through. Plus, it's a Sunday. Although your kids shouldn't have school because my kids don't have school tomorrow either. Let me not tell y'all what y'all should do. But 4 episodes, and it dropped on Friday, so I get it. Hopefully, like I said, Sunday is the sweet spot because Sundays I'm off, so I can do a live. Because usually, I do pajama Sundays, but I don't have another pajama Sunday till the 8th of October, I believe. So when I do that, I may not do both the same day, depending on how I'm feeling. Although I don't know, I'm working through all the dates in my head. Anyway, I'm supposed to be getting off of here. Anybody that comes through on the replay, leave a comment, leave an emoji, a wave, some flames. Just let your girl know you stopped by. Let me know what you think about these first 4 episodes and how you feel about going forward. You guys can pretty much, because I know like Tammy not playing with y'all. Tammy do episode by episode. And she don't like it to spoil it, but we did all 4, so we can talk about these 4. We could talk about your predictions going forward. I don't think there's anything that you could spoil for me at this point. So just you can just get down and talk freely. I love to hear it. Yeah, because I was bored and excited all at the same time. Yes, hashtag replay for your girl. Take this one down as we move on out of here, my good people. Thank you, Shayna and Tamika. Is it this one that I was using? Can you hear anything? You hear the music? I'm so tired, y'all. Thank you guys for coming through. It took me so long. My shoulder be doing what I want to do.